Have you heard the comments about how you look and how none of them mention the battles you survived just to stand here? They talk about your appearance like it's a choice, not realizing it's shaped by sleepless nights and silent breakdowns. Have you heard how easily they judge your face without knowing how often it's held back tears? They criticize your body as if it hasn't carried heartbreak, stress, and hope all at once. Have you heard them say you've changed without asking what you've been through to cause it? They see flaws where survival carved strength into you. Have you heard how they laugh about how you look, unaware of how close you were to giving up? They comment on your weight, your skin, your eyes, never on your resilience. Have you heard the whisper that follow you even when you pretend not to notice? They think appearance tells the whole story, but they've never read the chapters written in pain. Have you heard how they compare you to who you used to be, as if growth isn't messy? They judge your reflection without realizing it's learned how to keep going alone. Have you heard them say you don't look the same anymore, like that's a bad thing? They forget that time, loss, and healing leave visible marks. Have you heard the cruel honesty disguised as concern in their voices? They talk about your looks, but ignore how your soul has been carrying everyone else. Have you heard how silence becomes heavier after those words hit you? They don't see the strength behind tired eyes that still choose kindness. Have you heard how their opinions linger longer than they should? They don't realize how many times you stood in front of a mirror, questioning your worth. Have you heard them reduce you to an image, forgetting you're a human being? They speak freely, never considering how deeply their words cut. Have you heard how even compliments sometimes feel like quiet insults? They notice your appearance, but miss how much courage it took to keep showing up. Have you heard the comments that replay in your head long after the room is empty? They don't know how hard it is to smile when you're already breaking. Have you heard how judgment often comes from those who never dared to change? They act like beauty is static, not something shaped by life. Have you heard how their opinions try to rewrite how you see yourself? They don't see the glow that comes from surviving what almost destroyed you. Have you heard how exhausting it is to feel watched instead of understood? They measure your worth by looks, not by how deeply you feel. Have you heard the way their words make you shrink, even when you try not to? They don't realize you're learning to love yourself in a world that keeps picking you apart. Have you heard how unfair it feels to be judged on your hardest days? They never ask if you're okay before pointing out what's different. Have you heard how sometimes you avoid mirrors because of what others planted in your mind? They don't know how much healing it takes to unlearn their voices. Have you heard the loneliness that comes from being seen but not known? They think confidence is natural, not something rebuilt after being torn down. Have you heard how painful it is when people comment without care? They don't understand that your appearance reflects endurance, not neglect. Have you heard how you start questioning yourself because of strangers' opinions? They don't realize how powerful it is that you're still here. Have you heard the strength in choosing self acceptance over approval? They see the surface, never the storms you've calmed alone. Have you heard how their words sometimes make you forget your own progress? They don't know that growth often looks like exhaustion before it looks like beauty. Have you heard how you're learning to stop apologizing for existing? They comment on how you look while you're focused on staying alive. Have you heard how your reflection carries both pain and resilience? They don't notice the quiet confidence building behind tired eyes. Have you heard how hard it is to love yourself loudly in a judgmental world? They don't know that healing doesn't always look pretty. Have you heard how their opinions lose power when you choose compassion for yourself? They speak, then move on, not knowing you're left carrying their words. Have you heard how survival changes you in ways no mirror can explain? They don't realize that your worth was never up for discussion. Have you heard how you're slowly learning to see yourself beyond their comments? And have you heard this? Your appearance tells a story of endurance, not something that needs permission to exist.